So thanks for that idea. I don't know where you got it, but keep doing it. And it just struck me what Brooke was saying, that housing should be a foundational right. Now, we tend to think when we talk about housing, it's interesting how we use language, and in our conversations, when we have conversations. We talk about housing, now we talk about housing as a need. And when you do that, you tend to discuss things like, well, will it be the private market, the private sector, or the public sector that will try to fulfill that or satisfy that need? But notice what happens to the conversation that you're having when you say, no, it's not a need, it's a right. See, that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. Now you talk about, well, what are your rights? Now you talk about, okay, if you have rights, you've got responsibilities. And that, to me, is a much more fruitful conversation than always keeping in the realm of deficiencies and needs. It just opens it up. It's a whole new kind of conversation. And it's one that I really would like to have in Whitehorse. Keeping in mind that the federal government signed the UN document. I don't know the name of the document, but they signed the UN document that said, housing is a right. But they've never supported it. They signed it, but they didn't support it. So I think we need that conversation. First of all, to get there, they signed it, be responsible, and support it, and then let the communities have that discussion and conversation. Thanks.
Any responses or no? Okay. You actually can use our mic if you want,
I'll just say one thing because it adds to what Bill said, but also what was said over here. I sat in a room not too long ago and have had this a couple of times over the past month or so, where there's been literally 10, sometimes even 12 professionals sat around a table because there's been an individual person who, for many reasons, is excluded from our society, trying to figure out what to do. And so fundamentally, that's problematic. But ultimately, the two situations that have happened in the last couple of months, this person doesn't have a place to live. And so we can have 10 people from 10 different agencies all there to provide some type of support during the day for activities of daily living, for mental health, for addictions. But if that person doesn't have a safe place to go home to at night, those 10 people are going to have a really hard time finding any. So, I mean, we can help, obviously, but if we don't have a place for that person to live, we're at a real loss. And so I think, Bill, I agree with you. It's an absolute right.
Microphone, you have to turn it on, so there you go.
Another comment about the healing plan. Sheila Rose with the Anti-Poverty Coalition and Yukon Food for Learning, the programs that go on, feeding programs in schools. The healing, that plan puts other people into the responsibility of that person following through on their plan. I think when you put the person's children into a special daycare, that makes that daycare part of that person's healing plan, not just another child that needs, but you have now pulled in the community, the resources, you make the phone calls from the courtroom. It just adds that dimension of compassion, but also responsibility of community for all the citizens within the community. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you.
Hi, thank you very much. I'm Charlotte Renchuk from the Yukon Status of Women Council, and I just wanted to take something Bill said a little bit further. Until we stop looking at this whole area of poverty and social inclusion as a society from the position of charity and look at it from human rights perspective, we are not going to get very far. And we're going to find ourselves bogged down in this whole morass of the deserving and undeserving poor, rather than that it is everyone's human right to have their basic needs and more met. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Any others? Excellent, thank you.
Did somebody turn this? No, okay. I'm Cindy from the Yukon Women's Transition Home. One of the things that I think is important, I mean, we all sit around here from NGOs and other helping agencies. I sit with women every day, make phone calls. The private landlords out there are the ones that we need to reach, because the minute they hear somebody is on DIA or SA, the phone gets hung up, or it's, I'm sorry, I won't rent to any of you people. I've encouraged some of the women to go to human rights, because that's an infringement of their human rights as far as I'm concerned. But I think some of the landlords and apartment building owners are the ones that we have at some of these forums, and hopefully we can reach some of them.
In the fall, when we had Poverty and Homelessness Action Week, your comments, and you reminded me of this. I was reading the letters to the editor in the paper during that week, because there was lots of events going on, and the scathing letters that were written to the editors about the issues and the people that we were talking about, the people that are living on the streets, the people that are living, close to the margins. I was hurt, I was outraged, and so very much some of the similar reactions. And so I think I often ask myself, how do we reach beyond this room? Because in this room are people that most of us are passionate about this issue. Most of us believe in what's being said. And I think the people that are writing letters to the newspaper, that are taking time to be angry and to feel like we should continue with some of these issues of social inclusion. My question is, how do we reach those people? How do we change those perceptions? How do we change the perceptions of the landlords, but even just other people?
I just wanted to say also along this idea about your home. In the trailer court I'm living in the last for 4 years, the pad fee has gone up 3 times in 4 years. And it's going to continue. I see the writing on the wall. And I think I had phoned the city about something to do with the trailer court a few years ago, and they said it's private property, he can do what he pleases. Well, that has to stop as well, as far as I'm concerned. It's not really private property, because there's over 2 trailers in there with more than 1 person per trailer. He's making a mint on it. I don't know what he does with his money, but I think I know. And the point is, it's not a private business. It shouldn't be rated as a private business. It should be regulated in some form that it is not currently regulated. I pay taxes on my